So listen, I want to
Your
just make sure.
beard is
Oh,
getting nice and long there, man. Hmm?
bro. I mean, like, listen, I
Wolverine.
need to get. Hey, Babs. I wish I had the adamantium claws, man. Listen, man. Seriously, what wouldn't you
You got the
do?
amarantium. The
What
amarantium.
what wouldn't you do with those claws, and what wouldn't you do with that healing, man? Seriously, you just like open them blades up for like
But you can do
whenever.
the healing
Uh,
right now with this new strain of coronavirus, so definitely you can deal with that.
have you heard the,
And
like the
do with them
name
claws right
Omicron?
now. Doner kebab. They'll have you in the doner kebab store. Chili
But listen,
sauce.
they've given it some name. They've given it some next level name like Omicron. I'm
I
like, where are
know.
they getting his names
The
from?
Omicron crystal. Isn't that an X-Men or something? The Omicron.
The dark gold is like, some like, they're reading the book of the dark man. That's what they're reading there, man.
Gosh.
Omicron. Let's hope it doesn't rear its ugly head, man,
Yeah,
over there
yeah,
and over
yeah.
here. But listen, how you doing anyway?
Yeah, all good, all good. Saw some good
Yeah.
films this week. So yeah.
All right, yeah. So listen, yeah. So we're going to be speaking about House of Gucci. We're going to be speaking about Bruised, which is this new Halle Berry movie that we're going to
Mm,
kind of like talk about. And then if we've got time, we're going to throw in a hidden gem for you as well. And yeah, so stick around for the show. Remember, like, subscribe, do all
yep.
that sort of stuff on social media. We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Get in touch with us. Let us know what you're watching, and we will shout you out. So, Devout, let's do this. Let's get into the shout outs, actually. Yeah. So, who we shouting out?
Going to shout. Well, before the shout outs, quickly going to
Oh,
mention
yeah. Sorry.
our
Yeah.
giveaway still happening. Disney Plus. All you got to do is write us a review, stick it out there, let us know that you've done the review, and we will send you a free Disney Plus subscription up until the end of April, giving you enough time to watch Hawkeye and watch everything else that's out there, and a lot of fun to be had. So yeah, do that. You'll get your free subscription. Do it right now. Right now.
Do
Do
it.
it.
Just do it
Do
right now. Get on there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Devout,
So
shout outs. Who we
shout
shouting out?
outs. Yeah, some great shout outs actually. Dark skin women. We've spoken about them before. Really
Oh,
positive platform on Instagram that really
yeah.
celebrate the different lovely tones of dark skin women. Because we know there's a lot of colorism that happens out there in society, so they really
Yeah.
celebrate
Defo.
people of the darker tones. So dark skin women. They went to go and see King Richard. Loved it and really shouted out us actually the Flixters on their page, which we really,
Yeah.
really appreciate. Just Mercury again, King Richard. A lot of people loved King Richard
You
actually.
love the King Richard. Yeah.
Lisa Moyo. She's go and check out her page as well. Really great page.
Yeah.
Fashion, all these different looks that I can't pull off, but she can obviously our very own Zakharov. Zakharov, get well soon. I heard he's under the weather right now, so
Yeah.
Zakharov, get well soon. I hope listening to the Flixters makes you feel a lot better.
Cheers
Uh,
you up a bit.
yeah, definitely. We got Kel on YouTube, King Richard
Oh,
again.
yeah.
I think she went to go see it with her family, and she's saying that she loved it and she loves the Flixters. So Kel,
Brilliant.
big shout out to you.
Big
Natalie,
shout out.
24th, again, King Richard, and she saw Ghostbusters actually. She saw
Yeah.
Ghostbusters and she loved it. And then Simstar again saw
Oh, man.
Ghostbusters and loves the nostalgic parts of Ghostbusters. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's our shout outs. Thank you
Big
very
shout out,
much,
Simster.
everybody.
Yeah. I mean, me and Simster, we go back way back. We used to work
Oh,
in, yeah, we
is
used to
it?
work in Harrow. Yeah, we used to work in Harrow together. And I can't, you know what? There were probably so many moments where we would speak about films and speak about like TV shows and whatnot. So yeah, and Simster, she works in, she does like hair and makeup and
Ah,
things like that. And she was at No, was she at Comic Con recently? I can't remember if
yeah,
she
I
was at
saw
Comic
on the
Con
Instagram that I think she went to Comic Con and I think in the UK somewhere and met a lot of the
somewhere.
cast
Yeah,
from Arrow. So met John
exactly.
Diggle, met Arrow
Yes.
himself, and she's really into it. Yeah, she loves it.
Yes. So Sim, yeah, keep in touch, yeah, and let us know what you're watching. All right, okay, movie news. Now,
Yeah.
Devout, let's speak about this. Like Doctor Strange Part Two, we know it's definitely coming, but there's
Mm.
been some reshoots, and people are saying, well, why is there the reshoots? Is there something major going on? And remember in last week's episode, we said, there's a rumor going around that Hugh Jackman might be in there and he might be reprising his
Mm.
role as Wolverine.
Yeah.
But what's up with these reshoots? Why are they doing the reshoots?
Mm. Well, Benedict Cumberbatch actually came out in an interview and just said I mean, first of all, for people that don't know, reshoots happen on many movies,
Yeah.
many movies, especially those with special effects and those sort of big cinematic movies. There's a lot of reshoots that happen, so it's normal. But they had reshoots already, and now there's more reshoots. And he just came out and said there's nothing to worry about. The schedule was a little bit interrupted with COVID and other bits and bobs as well. Also, people have other jobs they're working. Different
Yeah.
actors are doing different projects, and they can't always be in the same room at the same time. So he just said it's a mixture of delays from COVID, availability, and some of the scenes that they're doing are some really, really deep scenes, some really big scenes. So they
Elaborate
had
as
to
well.
make
Yeah.
sure that they had everything in place to complete these things because this movie,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, is going to be a madness. So they want to
Madness.
get it right. Sam Raimi is obviously directing this one. And,
Yeah.
America Chavez is going to be in it. Doctor Strange, obviously. Scarlet
Chewie's going
Witch,
to be back.
Shuma Grath. It's going to be all kinds of madness. Who else? Who knows who else is going to show up in this film?
Yeah, well,
We might show up.
Chewie's got Chewie Tail. Well, Chewie Tail Edgeforce is gonna
Edgefall,
like
he's in it as well.
I
Yeah,
want to see what happens because remember there was that whole
yeah,
thing where he turned a bit dark,
yeah, yeah,
towards
yeah,
the end and like
yeah,
um,
yeah.
I still the, the staff of the Living Tribunal, like
Oh,
all that
you
stuff,
know,
man.
you know when it happened in part one, when he raised it up and said, "This is the staff of the living," because the Living Tribunal in Marvel Comics is the Living Tribunal is the second
I
most
love it when you do
powerful
this.
character, second to the one above all. So the hierarchy is the
Yeah,
one above all,
one
Living
above all.
Tribunal, and then you got like Entity, you got Infinity, you got uh, uh,
So
other
where does the
sort of
Watcher come in all of
galactic.
this?
Sorry.
Where does the Watcher come in all of this?
The Watcher wouldn't be listed among those people. The Watcher doesn't have
Okay.
sort of those galactic interdimensional because those entities they can exist within dimensions and multiverses.
Yeah.
They're top level ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a few other people that maybe come near like the Beyonder. You got the Molecule Man, who's a next level person as well. He can manipulate any molecule in the universe. You got
Damn.
and then you got below that you got like the omega level power people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
still sort of regular mutants or whatever, but are mad
Professor
powerful. But
X.
yeah, but anyway, Doctor Strange, and if the Living Tribunal shows up in that, it's over. It's over.
Game over, man.
Finished. Yeah.
So yeah, so they're still doing the reshoots on that one, and hopefully they haven't. Well, no, they have messed around with the dates on that, haven't they? Because it's
Yeah.
been delayed a little bit,
It's
only
May
by a couple
now.
of
It's
months. Sorry.
May rather than March 2022.
Okay.
Mm,
2022. All right. So listen, folks, look, keep your eyes on that one. And like Deval said, it's going to be a madness. Loads of shit going on in that one.
mm,
Remember, Scarlet Witch is going to appear in that one. Now, listen, a movie that has wrapped filming is Ant Man,
mm. It's
and
wrapped.
this
Is it?
Ant Man. So listen,
Oh.
this movie's wrapped, and the director he basically was out
Mm,
on social media and he kind of put up something on Twitter and he kind of announced that look, listen, the movie's wrapped and probably there's going to be some reshoots. There's going to be obviously post production shit going on as well,
yeah.
and how we announced the wrap. Of that is some cool artwork of Ant-Man and the Wasp in action. So if you
Mm.
want to check that out, go on Twitter and you can see that. But listen, this is going to be a big movie, and the reason why this is going to be a big movie is because Kang the Conqueror is going to feature in this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that whole thing with Loki that we saw in Loki, obviously the first season,
Mm.
is something is going to be happening with Ant Man and the Wasp because it's called Ant Man and the Wasp and the what is it the
Quantumania.
Quantumania.
So that's a
So the
mix of
quantum
the
realm.
quantum verse and just mania, like multiverse of madness. There's all kinds of madness going on in Marvel. Imagine so
Yeah,
quantum mania. So they're going to be going into the quantum realm, and there's going to be a bit of madness going on in there, craziness,
time works differently in the quantum realm. Obviously, Kang the
mate.
Conqueror, he manipulates time, so there's going to be all this stuff going on. So can't wait for that one. I think that's going to be really integral to the
Yeah,
whole kind of next phase of the
yeah, yeah.
MCU. So we'll keep you posted on that one. And here's some other interesting piece of news about. Now, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Vin
When
Diesel.
you lean back, I know something big's happening.
Come on,
When
man.
you
We've spoken about this character. I've got to sit back with this. But listen, how many people do you know who are fans of Riddick? come on, man.
Yeah,
That that character
yeah.
is deep, and like there's about four movies out there
Mm.
already. But
I'll
check this
ask you a
out. There's
question.
been an
Which
update.
one of the Riddick movies is your favorite?
I love the first one.
The first
I
one.
always like
Okay.
I like the first one. The second one is good as well
I got a
because you
special
kind of
thing for the
go a bit.
second one. The second
Yeah,
one, I got a special thing for it. The Chronicles of Riddick.
yeah.
That's the sort of
Because
film,
the
and it comes on
name.
telly. I could actually just watch it and just sit there and
Yeah,
watch it. There's bits in
yeah,
it that I just like. I don't know. I hear you as well.
yeah,
The first one is special, but for me, the second one, I kind of like it. You keep what you
yeah.
kill. That is the necromonger way. I mean, come on, man.
And it was, what I love about that character is because it's like so mysterious. Like you
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Like, hang on, what the hell is this thing? Is he like bad? Is he good or whatever?
Mm,
But so listen, look. I mean, at some point beyond the whole Fast and Furious franchise, I mean, they're going to finish at number 11, I think. And
mm,
what's Vin Diesel going to do next? I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, that's going to be ending as well.
yeah.
What other big franchise? And the other franchise is obviously Riddick, and
Mm,
apparently he posted a kind of like a bit of an update. So this is what he had to say. He said it's going to be titled Riddick 4, and it's going to be called Furia,
ah,
right? And according to Diesel, the storyline will delve into the mysterious origins of the highly skilled Furion.
mm,
So this is what he had to say. He said, "Are you guys excited to hear about Furia? Do you want to know where it all began with a dark character
yes,
Riddick?"
yes.
And I mean, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get
I want
another
to know.
Riddick
I want to
movie.
know, and we'll get to see more Furians because he's a crazy character. Maybe there's a lot more crazy ones like him. Like he could
Yeah,
have brothers on Furia or cousins or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, that could
man.
be that could be
They're gonna
decent.
come out the woodwork, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Let's just hope it's not another Bloodshot. No, was it Bloodshot or Deadshot?
yeah.
I can't remember
Bloodshot.
which one he
That's the
did.
one. That's
Was
the
it
one.
Bloodshot?
Yeah,
That one let me down, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Most
was a bit of a
people
letdown.
got let down.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a bit because he's a big character. That is a
yeah,
really, really good, like in the comic books and everything. That's like a
yeah.
big character. So hopefully, he's got some good writers behind him, and they can do the magic on that one. All right, listen, we're going to quickly move on to streaming,
Mm,
and we definitely got to speak about this. So listen, this week we saw the new Disney Plus
mm,
show Hawkeye dropping on Wednesday, and obviously the whole internet went out and kind of like watched this. Everyone who's a Marvel fan went out and watched it. And Disney, they released episodes number 1 and 2,
mm.
and they're longer. These episodes are longer. They're about 50, 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I had a really, really good time watching them. Haley
Mm,
Stenfield, whatever. She's actually really good. She
mm.
brings that kind of, we saw in Bumblebee. Was
Yeah,
it Bumblebee? Yeah, we saw that kind of that teenage angst type of
yeah,
kind of role that she brings to it. We've seen
yeah.
her in other things. Edge of 17, she did that really well. And a couple of other movies and stuff. She's a really big star. She's going to be even bigger. She plays Kate Bishop in this, and it's kind of like people will be wondering, well, what happened to Hawkeye after Avengers Endgame,
Mm,
and you're basically going to see exactly what happens. And there's going to be some spoilers that we're going to speak about now, Deval and I. It starts off in 2012, and
ah,
Deval, have you noticed? The Chitauri invasion that has been the kickstart
yeah,
of kind of like little bits and pieces within the kind of TV MCU, and we see it from a different angle now.
yeah.
So
It
we
was
see
done
it
so
from
well. It was like
yeah,
the way the 2012 invasion was happening and Chitauri and all that, and Hawkeye was quite pivotal. He was member because Iron Man gave everyone orders. Hawkeye was up top, shooting off all these Chitauri. And I remember in Avengers, there's one Jatari that's flying around, and he shoots it with like a sort of a acid sort of arrow, and it sort of dissolves
yeah,
the ship, and it falls down. And we see that scene happening through Kate Bishop's eyes because there's a
yeah,
Tashari coming towards her, and then we see him do that same shot where it
shot,
hits
yeah,
it, and it sort of falls down and doesn't hit her. It's like it's so accurate. I was really even the way he was fighting on top of the roof, it was
yeah.
accurate. Like they did a
That was
really good job
brilliant.
with that scene. It was really good because we don't really get to see that battle from the eyes of the people. We really got to see it
No,
from the eyes of the Avengers. People got hurt. People were killed. I'm sure because
yeah, of
all
course.
those like wiggly worm things, they're massive. They got to fall down on the
Oh
buildings, and people are
man,
in those buildings.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
totally. And apparently, I was doing kind of like a bit of research on this. The
Mm.
makers of Hawkeye, they actually went back and they watched the dailies. They're called the dailies, the stuff that they film on the day. So they
Yes.
went back to the
Yeah.
dailies of Avengers,
Mm.
and they watched all that stuff so that they can then plan this
I'm not
Hawkeye
surprised.
scene.
Yeah.
It's
Really
brilliant.
good.
So what happens is that kickstarts Kate
Mm.
Bishop's character. She's like, she sees Hawkeye. He's fighting on the kind of the top of the roof. He's taking out the bad guys, and then
Mm.
from that point onwards, it's like she wants to be an archer, and she grows up and she's kind of like she's won like state champions, and she's a martial artist and everything like that. And the beginning of it is just her story, isn't it, Deval?
Mm.
So we just basically see about her.
Yeah.
She's at university or college or whatever it is, and she does something. She gets into trouble. She comes back to New York, and then at the same time, Hawkeye's in New York as well with
Mm.
his family. And there's a brilliant kind of opening bit where they're watching Steve Rogers the musical.
Yeah. That's funny. I can do
That
this
is
all day.
funny, man.
They're singing. I can do this all day.
I can do this all day.
And he kind
So
of
it's like,
cringes because he's like, "Oh, that didn't happen like that." Because they're really
yeah,
playing out the scenes of the Battle of New York. So it's good to see him
yeah.
sort of cringe and be like, "Nah," you know.
This isn't really like what
Yeah.
happened type of thing. So we kind of see that whole thing. He's in New York. He's having trying to bond with his with his family and everything.
Mm.
And I didn't realize he had another son, and he's like
The
so
big
tall,
son.
that kid.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
tall.
I
Like
didn't
it's the
even know
same
that.
son that was in Ultron, but he's grown. He doesn't really
And the
say
daughter as well,
much.
right?
Yeah, the daughter is a real life daughter of Joe Russo or Anthony Russo, one of them.
Oh,
The
right,
sort of
okay,
shorter one, more chubbier one. She's the daughter of that
yeah.
one. So yeah.
All right, okay, yeah.
Mm.
So look, he has kind of like this kind of thing going on, and then there's this crazy setup where Kate Bishop, she is the daughter of kind of like this rich New York socialite who's getting married to kind of like
Mm.
a guy who seems pretty shady,
Yeah.
and they're in some sort of the action picks up when they're in some sort of kind of auction,
Yeah.
Deval.
Yeah.
There's kind of like this big kind of set piece with there's an auction, and lo and behold, Ronin. So the character Ronin from the comic books, who we saw in Avengers
Endgame.
Endgame,
Mm.
that suit is on the auction list.
Yeah. A lot of the auction pieces are pieces from the Avengers that
Yeah,
were recovered when in Endgame, Hulk, done the whole snap and Thanos came and smashed the building. A lot of pieces got, I guess, recovered by people and sold on, the market. And that's
yeah,
what's happening. Some of those things are really expensive, like
yeah,
hundreds
yeah,
of
yeah.
thousands, if not millions. So yeah.
If not millions. So somehow the Ronin suit is there, and through kind of like some crazy shit,
Mm.
Kate Bishop, she gets hold of the mask, and she gets hold of the cape, and she starts fighting the bad guys, and then she's on the news, and then Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye, sees it and is like, "I've got to get my suit back,"
Mm.
and then that kickstarts the whole kind of right, bringing these two characters together, and then they finally meet, and then this kind of like dynamic between these two guys is fun. You know,
Mm.
um, they're having a lot of fun with each other, and he's starting to act like a mentor, right?
Yeah. The other thing that surprised me was that they got friendly really quick,
Really quick.
like really quick. Like they just kind of they've known each other forever.
Yeah,
So that's the only
yeah,
thing I thought was a little bit weird. But apart from that, yeah, there was a good dynamic. He's a sort of
yeah,
reluctant mentor. She's an enthusiastic sort of fan girl of Hawkeye, and she is skilled, really skilled. She does beat up a few people. I'm thinking, wow, she's
yeah.
kind of strong.
I know.
But yeah, I think so far we're going to get quite a lot from this show. We should be
Yeah,
getting Echo, who's a Daredevil enemy as well. Swordmaster is the person
yeah,
that's with Kate Bishop's mum. He's another enemy from the comics, usually around Daredevil as well. There's quite a few Daredevil enemies, sort of street level enemies that are in this. So that's why they're saying Daredevil might show up or Kingpin might show up too. So
yeah. That's
this
the
show
rumor that
could
we've heard.
reveal a lot. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Tracksuit
So what
Mafia,
are
they're
we?
very funny as well.
Tracksuit Mafia. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. So what are we? And then it ends on episode number two. It ends
Yeah,
on the introduction of kind of like a major villain. So like
yeah,
there's all
Echo.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what? So how many episodes are we looking at over here?
I
Four
think it's
more episodes.
six. I think it's six. Yeah, so four
Okay.
more. So it'll finish just before Christmas.
And then that leads us
Yeah.
up to Boba, I think.
Boba, Spider Man, Matrix. I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot going on
Yeah.
around Christmas.
All right. So listen, if you haven't seen it, Go check it out. And yeah, I think they're really hoping it to be kind of like this kind of like holiday.
Mm.
This it did have kind of like a bit of a Die Hard vibe to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting home for
This kind
Christmas,
of
but you got to figure out
getting
how to
back for Christmas.
deal with these enemies first, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it kind of has that. So we'll see what happens with the character Hawkeye. I mean, we don't know if he's going to come back to play in any movies, do we, Deval?
Mm. I don't know. Probably will at some point, but yeah, don't know actually. Mm.
Yeah, go check it out. And obviously, we'll kind of speak about the other episodes when they come and pass. But listen, I want to quickly speak about this other thing that's new on streaming.
Mm.
It's this new South Korean, and remember, like there's these a lot of these South Korean shows are big on Netflix.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, like a month ago, we had Squid Game, which is huge. I
Mm.
saw it, and it was really good. Here's a new one. It's called Hellbound, and this one's a bit weird, man, because it's kind of like religious. It plays on this kind of like supernatural idea about about sinning, and you know the people who sin, what are the consequences of that. So this Hellbound takes place in
Mm.
South Korea, and people start seeing these they're like kind of ghosts. Do you know how I can kind of describe it is they're like what's that Marvel villain one with the we've already seen before? Is it like Sandman?
Yeah. Sandman. What in
They
Spider
kind
Man?
of like the Sandman character in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They're like these three things that look like that, but they're kind of like like seriously, they're three things like Sandman, but it's kind of
Mm.
like this cloudy dust thing. They
Yeah.
come and they take you because you've been sinning,
Oh my
and
gosh.
there's like judgment, and there's like end of the world type of kind of scenario on here. It looks mad, and it's kind of like it's like number 6 in Australia. It's like number 1 in like
Mm.
loads of different countries. So I'm gonna check this out. I haven't actually seen it,
I've seen the
but
trailer. It does look a bit mad. It looks very, very,
it looks
very
mad,
mad. Yeah.
like supernatural,
Yeah.
like kind of religious, and like all
Yeah.
this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll give it a go, and we'll see what happens. But if you've seen it, let us know what you think.
Mm.
That's new on streaming. And Deval, yeah. So tell us about these trailers.
Okay, what trailers we got? So yeah, we've got a couple of trainers, trailers. First one is Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley is it's actually a film we spoke about a little while ago, and it stars Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
It's actually directed by Guillermo del Toro,
Mm,
as we know from his many movies over the years.
loads of
Obviously,
stuff.
Oscar nominated, Oscar winner as well. But yeah, this movie is quite dark. It's set in the, I want to say it's set in the 1920s, I think. It's set back in the day anyway, sort of Dick Tracy era. And Bradley Cooper is like a clairvoyant. He's a bit of a con man, from what I understand in the trailer. And he works with Kate Blanchett, who's a psychologist, and they kind of work together to, I guess, trick people and all sorts. But it's not as simple as it sounds because Guillermo del Toro doesn't do simple as it sounds films.
Yeah,
And you know he likes dark, he likes a
yeah.
bit of horror, he likes a bit of supernatural. So the
Gothic.
trailer doesn't show that part of it, but you kind of get an eerie suspicion that there's a underlying, intense kind of m- mystical horror involved in this, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but it looks interesting enough, and it's coming out in December, so I am gonna watch it, and I
Yeah,
think you should
we'll
check
check
out
it
the
out.
trailer and maybe watch it too.
Yeah,
No, that's
listen
out
out
in
for the review.
January here, actually, in the UK. But
Okay.
yeah, looks interesting. Mm.
Yeah,
All
that
star
sounds good.
cast: Bradley Cooper, Blanchett, Willem Dafoe, Rooney Mara, Tony Collette, Ron
Yeah.
Perlman, who always shows up in
In
Guillermo's films. Quite
yeah,
a lot of good actors there. So yeah,
looking good that one. And the other one that you put on there is Pam and Tommy. Now,
yeah.
I've seen like some pictures of this, but this is the story of Pamela Anderson and Tommy. What was it? What's his name? Tommy Gunn. No, no, not Tommy Gunn.
Tommy Lee Jones. No,
Tommy Lee Jones.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so he's a part. He was in like a rock band, and obviously Pamela Anderson. I mean, come on, Baywatch. Um, but this is
Tommy Lee.
about the incident of their sex tape, isn't it? Something to do with that.
Yes. So this trailer, it looks like a lot of fun. Do you remember that film, I Tonya?
Yes.
Yeah, so
with
this is the same director, yeah, same
oh,
makers,
okay.
I Tonya. I got a sneaky suspicion they would have actually asked uh, Margot Robbie to play Pamela Anderson because she could have done that, I reckon.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't
she's
know
really
what
good.
she's not doing. But Lily James is playing Pamela Anderson. Sebastian Stan is playing
Mm,
Tommy Lee. He was
yeah.
actually in I Tonya as well, so he's coming back to work
Oh,
with the Bakers. And yeah, it's just like you said. So the sex tape was released, and back in the '90s or whenever it was, and it just obviously back then it went viral, but not in
yeah,
the same way it would do now. Back then it actually was a tape.
yeah.
People talk about sex
Physical
tapes now,
tape.
but there's no physical tape these days. But that back in
No.
those days, then they made money off it, and people exploited it. Obviously, it made them. Well, Pamela Anderson was already very famous. Tommy Lee was already famous, but in a different way, you know.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of thing that kind of happened to different people. Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, those
Yeah, man.
careers were made of sex tapes. I mean,
Sex
you know,
tapes.
it
Yeah.
sounds like a mad thing, a bad thing to actually happen to someone, but Kim Kardashian, I don't care what anyone says, even her, I'm sure she wouldn't change that for the world because that
Nah, because
tape,
look at where she is.
look at them, they're billionaires from that, you know?
Crazy.
Exactly.
She was, and
Billionaires.
apparently, yeah, she was Paris Hilton's like wardrobe. Like she would pick out clothes for Paris Hilton.
Is it?
That's how, like,
Crazy.
seriously, man. This is it. This is
So,
how it happens. So devout, like,
yeah.
I don't actually, mind you, I don't want to see a sex tape of you out there on the internet somewhere, man. So please don't.
Ah, boy, I better make sure no one gets hold of it then, innit? But,
But listen, so the news here is that the transformation of Lily James.
yeah, she looks good for it. And also,
Yeah,
Winter Soldier, Sebastian
Winter
Stan, he
Soldier.
looks
Yeah.
good for it too. But looks like a fun film actually. I'm gonna watch
Mm.
this. When I first, it's actually a series. Sorry, it's not a film. It's a series. 8 episodes
Oh, right.
on Hulu. I think it's gonna be, yeah, on Hulu. It's gonna be. So yeah, different series. So yeah,
Yeah,
looks
that's
interesting.
and isn't Hulu owned by Disney?
Hulu, I believe so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
So we might it might end up on like Disney Plus or something like that.
possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. All right, we'll obviously let you know on that one. So listen, look, let's get into anniversary corner, and we've chosen a movie which yeah, I mean, I've seen this movie. I remember watching it like years ago. I've seen
Mm,
it on TV and stuff, and it's kind of one of those movies. When it first came out, I didn't watch it. It was, I think I
yeah,
caught it later on, like on Sky or something like that,
yeah,
years ago, like after that. And you're like, okay, I've heard a lot about this movie, so let me just watch it. This is The Devil Wears Prada,
yeah.
and it was kind of like the breakthrough role for Emily Blunt.
Yeah, 2006, 15 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Emily Blunt came through and done a good job in this film. I think she was like the person in the Prada environment that wasn't very Prada-ish, I think, isn't it?
No,
And she didn't
yeah,
really
like
know what to do and all that.
receptionist. Oh no, no, that
Exactly.
was sorry. No, that was that's Catwoman. That
Oh,
was
that
her
was
role.
Anne Hathaway. Was she the one that
Anne
wasn't very? Oh
Hathaway.
yes, of course. I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Anne Hathaway's in
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Meryl Streep, the great Meryl Streep.
yeah,
As you said, Emily Blunt, Stan Tucci,
yeah.
otherwise known as the person that
Her
made Captain
brother-in-law.
America. Uh,
Yeah, that's her brother-in-law in real life.
who
Emily Blunt's brother-in-law.
is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay.
married to her sister.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, small world. But
Mm,
yeah, this is a top film. My brother actually likes this film, which I'm
yeah,
very surprised about. He likes this film though. So yeah, I can go and watch it. 2006. It's a film about fashion. Obviously, everyone knows about Prada, and the fashion industry is a very cutthroat industry. You know, we
yeah,
get to see the runway, we get to see it in the retail shops, but what goes on behind the scenes is quite a tough industry, from what I understand. So
man, huge.
that's why they say the devil
Yeah,
wears Prada, isn't it?
exactly. And the devil in this, like, it's that Meryl Streep character,
Yeah.
the way she treats all the people around her like
Yes.
shit.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit at the end where Anne Hathaway's character, she makes it. And then I
Mm,
liked it
mm,
because they see each other at the end and they don't say anything to each other, but they just
mm.
nod to each other and they know that,
Okay.
you know what, okay,
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
respect
Yeah.
there at the end of it. So, which is kind of,
Mm,
it's interesting that one. So that was Devil's Weird Product. And the reason why we bring that to you is because Deval went out and watched House of Gucci, so Prada, Gucci, like these high, high cost fashion brands, and like
mm-hmm.
um, and this is a new movie directed by Ridley Scott, who you'll know obviously from Aliens and Blade Runner and whatnot, who just recently made the Duel, the Last Duel, which I
Yeah,
didn't
that's right.
catch actually, by
Yeah.
the way. So this is his other latest movie, and Deval went out and watched it, and so Deval's going to let you know about it, and so yeah, set it up for us, Deval.
Yeah, House of Gucci. So I wasn't going to watch this film, but then I thought I should watch it because it looks like an interesting film. So I watched it. And do you know what? Just to start with, the film's actually quite decent.
Okay.
It's actually quite a decent film. 2 hours and 20. Ridley Scott directing. Lady Gaga is the main sort of star in this, as well as Adam Driver, who's Maurizio Gucci. You
Mm.
got Aldo Gucci, is Al Pacino. It's funny how his name's
Oh,
Aldo and it's Al, but he's
Aldo.
the
Yeah.
uncle of Adam Driver's character. Jeremy Irons is Rodolfo Gucci. He's the dad of Adam Driver. And then we have Jared Leto, Paolo Gucci. Do you
Oh,
know
he's
what?
in it as well.
I watched the whole film and I didn't know it was him. The
Is
way he
it?
looks in this film, he's overweight. They put all this makeup on him. I watched the whole film thinking, who is this guy? He looks
He
familiar, but
looks
I didn't know who
familiar.
it was. And they all have Italian accents, all of them.
Ah,
Yeah, but I
okay.
watched the whole film. Do you know what that uh, uh, performance for me is a good. That's an Oscar-winning supporting actor performance. It
Is
was
it?
so
Yeah,
good.
well, he's good. Yeah, he's good,
I
man.
had no idea it was him. I had to come home, go on IMDb, and check to see who it was. That's how I found out. That's how
Yeah.
unrecognizable he is. But yeah, so yeah, the whole film is basically about the Gucci family in Italy, the way that the family have built the empire. The father and sort of brother were sort of the main people creating the empire. Al Pacino and his brother owned it, but Al Pacino done all the legwork really to
Yeah.
create Gucci and what it is. And Al Pacino sorry, and Adam Driver was part of the family, but wasn't really involved. He wanted to be a lawyer, actually.
Okay.
Adam Driver's character wanted to be a lawyer. He sort of meets Lady Gaga's character, who's nothing to do with fashion. Her dad owns a transport company, and she works in the office. But she meets Adam Driver, and she goes for it. She sort of goes for
Okay.
what she wants. So she meets him, goes for it, and thinks, "Oh, that name sounds familiar, Gucci," and she wants to be a part of it. So they meet up, obviously relationship happens and stuff like that. But the real thing that happens in this movie that really changes things is that people get jealous, people want power, and people are backstabbing even within the family. So there's a situation where one of them reports that the other one isn't filing their taxes properly. And then
Damn.
the tax police or whatever you want to call them go to that person, and that person ends up in prison, out of the picture for a year,
That's
meaning that
cold
someone else
blooded,
in the
man.
family can infiltrate and do what they want to do. That's what happens. But then that creates weakness. And then someone else in the family sees that weakness and tries to
Yeah.
seize upon
Exploit
it
it.
by,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't want to spoil it too much by saying who does what, but it's backstabbing all within the
Is
family.
it?
And by the end of it, it breaks down the whole family. And obviously,
Yeah.
Lady Gaga's involved. She's very good and she's really good in this. I mean, they're all actually really good. They're
Yeah.
all really good. She is like no singing, just an actress in this, and she actually does. I didn't know as well it was her. I knew it was her
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
the film, but when I saw the trailer, I had no idea it was her. But she does really good.
She does really
But
good. And then what about like so there isn't kind of like a particular like, villain of the piece. It's like the whole family is just like
yeah,
in
they're all kind
shambles.
of backstabby. I mean, Adam Driver seems to be the one that is quite wholesome to start with, and all that. But
Mm.
he soon turns, and Lady Gaga influences him as well. And then soon enough, their relationship gets a bit of a madness, and it just gets really bad. But the way the film is, there's some really comedic elements in it. Jared Leto's character, he's very funny, very
Is
funny.
it?
Even the way he talks,
And
some
what about the
Italians might find
accents?
it offensive. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
some Italians might find it a bit, offensive the
Like
way
a
they go
caricature
over the
of it or
top.
something.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a really funny. It's really serious at times. It shows you the different competition within the fashion industry. Tom Ford pops up in it as well. It shows
Wow.
how
Yeah.
he was involved in Gucci's story, and the whole film is kind of, yeah, it's yeah, it's quite a character driven film. Very, there's no special effects in this. Obviously, it's all very sort of to do with the characters
Yeah,
and their relationships. And actually, there was no point in the film where I got bored, which is a good thing. It's 2 hours
that's
and
a good thing.
20, so that's always a danger. But the way the film ends, yeah, unless you know the story of the Gucci's, it's a bit of a mad ending. But it's a good
Is
film. I
it?
definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What's
definitely
the
recommend it.
what is the appeal of, like, these brands, man? Like, people are probably, I'm assuming, people when they watch a movie like this, they're gonna be like, wow, Gucci, like, there's all
Yeah,
this like rich history,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
crazy history. It's
yeah.
gonna drive up sales. I'm pretty sure.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Yeah, even the colors of
Damn.
Gucci, you find out why the colors were the way they were. Because
Yeah.
one of the characters in Gucci went to go see a spiritualist or like a crystal ball person. What do you call them?
Yeah.
The
Like a clairvoyant.
clairvoyant. Yeah, and she said to the person, "Oh, you need to wear you need to wear more red and more green. Green is protective color, and red is a color for I can't remember." And because they said that, and then when you see Gucci, they've got a lot of red and green, isn't it,
Red
together?
and
And
green.
it makes you think, oh wow, is that where
Yeah.
it came from?
Shit.
Oh, it's mad.
Damn. Sounds
It's
really
mad,
good.
yeah.
Listen, look, I'm jealous because look, I don't know what's going on with the cinema releases over here,
Mm,
where some of these big movies they're not even releasing them, like, this year. So I think House of Gucci's coming towards the end of December, or it might
mm,
even be in January. So I'll have to catch that, a bit later on. But folks who are listening and maybe watching on YouTube, if you do go out and watch the movie, let us know what you think.
yeah.
You know, do you buy Gucci? And Yeah, it sounds like a really interesting, and like you said, man, it's got an all-star cast. So were you surprised that this is a Ridley Scott movie?
I was, yeah. Didn't expect it to be him, to be honest, but
Nah.
pleasantly surprised. One of his best
Yeah.
films that I've seen. Yeah,
In a long time. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. So that's a really good review. Check that one out, folks. If you do go out and see that, then let us know if you think it's good or bad. Now, the other movie that we want to speak about is Bruised, which you can find on Netflix. This was just
Mm,
released not too long ago, actually, a couple of days ago, or whatever. And so this is the it's the directorial debut for Halle Berry. And wow, I mean, devout
mm.
Halle Berry, what a career she's
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
And when you watch this movie, it's so funny because when I was watching this movie, I was immediately taken back to the year 2000 to X-Men,
X-Men. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
just to see the kind of the her career, that whole trajectory. She was like, that
yeah.
was like, a big movie, obviously, for Fox and everything. And you obviously, no one knew back then just how big comic book movies were, but
Mm,
Halle Berry was a part of that. And she's Oscar winner. She's been in some other dramatic roles. Was it Monsters Ball?
I think so. And also,
Yeah,
she was in
Monsters Ball,
Swordfish. No, no,
Swordfish.
was it Monsters Ball or the one where she Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah,
Make me feel good.
Monsters Ball.
Make me feel good.
Yeah. So listen, she's a really, really kind of great actress. And oh, by the way, John Wick. That was the last thing that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
her
yeah,
in was
yeah.
was John Wick and
She's done
everything.
a lot, you know. She's like 50 plus, but she looks half that.
She looks, oh man, and in this movie, when I mean a physical performance,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen her doing
Mm,
anything like this. But basically, she plays Justice. She plays a person called Justice, Jackie Justice. She's an
mm,
MMA fighter, and at the beginning of the movie, you you don't really see her fighting, but you kind of see it from her point of view. She's in the ring, and people are like saying, "Oh, look, she's like 10 fights, never lost a fight, and she's taken on this fight and everything." And then something happens in the ring, and then basically her career's over,
mm,
and literally cut to her cleaning toilets. So
mm,
she's had this fight, she lost, something went on, but now she's basically bankrupted, she's got no money, she's cleaning toilets, and she's just basically doing really bad jobs. And yeah, it's kind of
mm,
like this reality kind of like check. And those initial kind of moments of the movie, I thought, oh, this is kind of has the feel of a Rocky movie. Now, I don't know,
mm.
Deval, have you seen the original Rocky movie?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ages ago,
So,
but yeah.
yeah, ages ago. So that kind of that working class kind of
Mm,
coming from a working class neighborhood, and you kind of like the real the real kind of like New York life. I think it's set in New York. You kind of get to see that, and you're like,
Mm,
damn man, this was a world champion who's now in the dumps,
mm,
and I kind of got that Rocky vibe to it, and she's not in a very good situation. She's living with her manager, who's also her boyfriend, and
mm,
he's kind of like an aggressive guy, and they're both drinking, and she's basically going nowhere in life. And then she she basically she gets called, or she goes to kind of like this underground illegal fight, and you know. Her manager, her boyfriend says to her, "Hey, listen, do you want to get back into the fight?" And she's like, "No, look, I don't want to fight."
mm,
And how these movies go, she obviously gets involved in a fight, and that kind of kickstarts the whole kind of thing. So she gets involved in a fight, and there's a promoter over there and says like, "Hey, Justice, I saw you kicking some ass, and I know you're kind of in a bad place, but listen, I want you to come to my gym, and I want you to train with my people, and listen, there could be something in for you." So there's that kind of that story arc, the kind of the warrior's journey where
mm.
you're
Yeah.
high, you're low, and then you go back up again. So it kind of those the warrior's kind of journey. It does all that. It does all those tropes, and I remember there was a movie called Southpaw. Do you remember watching that one
Jake
with
Gyllenhaal.
Jake
I think.
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of had a similar kind of like trajectory, but this is, for me, this is a better movie than that. This
Ah,
is kind of like, yeah, it's a better movie than that.
and her
Because,
directorial debut as well. What do you reckon?
man, I'm telling you, she hits it out of the park because it's so
Serious.
emotional, so raw.
Mm,
There's kind of like a moment in the movie where she's confronted by her past. She
mm,
left her kid, and the kid is
mm,
on her doorstep. She's got a mum who she's got like a fractured relationship with her mum, and there was some shit going on with her mum, and we
mm.
learned that Jackie, Halle Berry's character, she was abused when she was young,
Okay.
and so from a young age she's had to fight, and she's had to
Mm,
deal with all these obstacles, and now she's got her kid again, and there's been some trauma with the kid, and yeah man, it's tough. She's going through so much emotional pain. The only thing that I would say is there was one point in this movie, and I'm not going to obviously spoil this bit, but there's one moment where she she has a relationship, a kind of like a there's a relationship that she forms with another woman. All right, that's all I'm going to say. She forms
okay.
with another woman, and for me, that kind of was a bit disjointed. Like I don't
Mm,
think that that was necessary, and and kind of like I'll leave that up to the viewers to decide whether they thought that was kind of like needed or not. But you know it's a I thought it was a great kind of directorial debut. There's kind of like the
mm.
highs and the lows. You win
Okay.
in life, you lose in life, you get
Okay.
battered, life knocks you down, and
Keep getting up.
you got to keep getting up, man. You got to keep fighting, and Justice, man, boy, does she keep fighting. And like
Hmm. What a
there's
name.
obviously there's a fight.
Justice.
Justice, I know, man. So you know what? It's a decent movie. It's a decent movie. I'm not gonna say like it's a classic like
Yeah.
Rocky, the original Rocky movie out up there. But you know what? As far as kind of like a piece of filmmaking is concerned, I really liked it. I thought it was decent, man.
Okay.
And if she makes more movies, yeah, I'll go out and I'll watch them.
Mm. Okay. Nice one. On
Yeah,
Netflix right now, yeah?
this is it's showing on Netflix right now, and yeah, go check it out
Okay.
and let us know what you think, folks.
Cool. Nice one. Thanks for that. I'm going to finish off. I've
Yeah,
seen about 10 minutes so far, so I need to finish it off.
yeah, finish that one
So
off.
I'm going to
So what?
quickly
How are we
sneak
doing for
in.
time?
I'm going to quickly sneak in this hidden gem because it actually relates to what you just mentioned with Bruised. This
Yeah,
film is called A Vigilante. 2018, stars Olivia Wilde, and she is a survivor of an abusive relationship, very abusive relationship. We're hearing a lot about abusive relationships and just abuse on women and girls these days, and this is no different. Her ex-husband was so abusive that their son ended up paying the price for it.
damn.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to say exactly what happened, but in a very bad way. And she manages to, after many years, get her freedom, and she joins a group of women that are survivors and are talking about their trauma, trying to heal, and man, this a lot of pain. People have gone through a lot. Some people haven't survived, but in this film, she gets to a point of a real low, and then from that low, there's only one way is up.
Yeah.
She takes it upon herself to train, just like Halle Berry did. She trains. She gets confidence above confidence. I'll say she almost turns superhuman, and
Wow.
she learns how to fight back. And over a process of understanding, how to fight men bigger than her, obviously, and she figures out a way of of finding out who these men are. I'm not going to spoil it, but she figures out a way. She has a connect where she finds out who these abusive men are, and she goes to visit them, and she
And she
deals with them,
deals with them.
not just physically but financially. She frees the woman that's trapped in that relationship.
Yeah,
One example quickly: she goes to this man's house, she deals with him, she beats him up real quickly, and then she makes him sign over all his finances. She signs over 70% of his finances to her, and he keeps 70, but he has to leave and leave the wife who
Yeah.
wants him to leave, but she's been trapped for years. And when that happens, the wife hugs her and says, "Oh, thank you." And like it's such a moment, she goes out liberating all these women that have been trapped, and she
Yeah.
deals with the men. So she does that over a period of time, and then it gets to a stage where, first of all, the film is it's not in a linear way. The film shows
Right,
you
okay.
kind of the end ish, and it goes back to the beginning of her journey.
Right.
Really well made film, really
Yeah.
indie, proper indie film. I imagine it
Nice.
didn't cost much to make, not many locations, only a handful of actors. But Olivia Wilde in this film, usually she's very glamorous. Forget that. She is bare knuckle, bare bones. She
Same thing
is
with Halle
bare,
Berry.
yeah, just like that. These roles here, I think they really like they enjoy these roles because it's very different
Yeah.
to what they normally get cast for. And yeah, she goes in. But this is a really good hidden
Sounds
gem.
good.
I came across it randomly, and I thought, a vigilante. What's that about? And I watched it.
Yeah.
I was so glad I watched it. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
not a long
good.
film,
It's a
hour
good
and a
shout.
half, something like that. But yeah, this is a film to watch, and I hope this gives inspiration to other people that have maybe been put in these situations that shouldn't be in these situations. But
Yeah. Go
yeah,
seek
it's a
help.
great film. Go watch it. A vigilante. Go do it.
Yeah, I want to definitely.
Mm,
What is it about these movies? Like with these actors, I think they kind of, when you kind of have that kind of, I don't know, that struggle. I think a
mm,
lot of actors they love that.
yeah,
Those storylines where you go
yeah,
through a lot of struggle and
yeah,
then you overcome those struggle
yeah,
and you kind of,
yeah.
uh,
Character
I
driven. Yeah.
exactly. I love those. And who doesn't love kind of like an
Mm,
underdog story, like where
yes. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
person who gets downtrodden, they
Yeah.
fight back up, and everyone loves
Hmm.
those stories. So it
Yeah.
sounds a bit like that as well. And it's a physical role, I'm assuming.
Yes, very. She works out. She goes in. She's punching people up. She looks tough in this for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wicked.
No
Yeah.
makeup.
Well,
No
listen.
time for that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, but same thing with Bruised as well. So listen, maybe folks can watch it as a double bill. Check out a
Yeah. Yeah.
Vigilante, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
go check out Bruised as well. Well, listen, look, we've got zero time
Yep.
left.
That's it.
That's the end of the show for you folks. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, keep it locked with the Flixters. We're going to be bringing you more movies all the time, every single week. We've got new stuff to talk about, and we're getting closer to Spider-Man. We're getting closer
Ooh.
to obviously the Matrix. We're getting closer to Boba Fett, and we're looking beyond
Mm.
20. We're looking towards 2023 now.
Yeah. For sure.
Shit,
It's
no,
gonna be
I
good.
just jumped ahead. 2022.
2022. I thought you was jumping. I was going with you there, but it's cool. It's all right. Well, I'll stay back. I'll stay back.
Man, I just time traveled. But listen, keep it locked with us, and yeah, we hope.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.